So, you've probably seen the ads for Goldco. They're one of the biggest names out there for precious metals IRAs. And you're hit with these two completely different stories, right? On one side, you see these amazing A-plus ratings and huge celebrity endorsements. But on the other, you start digging and you find lawsuits and some pretty serious warnings. So what's the real deal? In this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise and get to the bottom of this investor's dilemma.
And look, on the surface, Goldco looks absolutely rock solid. You really can't miss their endorsements from major personalities like Sean Hannity. And he's not the only one. You've also got actors like Tom Selleck and Dennis Quaid backing them. That creates a really powerful first impression, you know? It just screams credibility and trust.
And it's not just the famous faces. The official ratings tell an even more compelling story. We're talking about a top-tier A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. And, according to Goldco's own site, over 8,000 five-star reviews. I mean, on paper, they look like the undisputed king of the hill.
But you know, this is where things start to get a little more interesting. Because whenever you see numbers that look that perfect, you have to ask yourself, what am I not seeing here? Is a five-star review, one that you give right at the beginning, really the whole story of a long-term investment?
Well, that's because when you start to dig into the public record, a much more complicated picture starts to emerge. See, despite those thousands of happy reviews, Goldco has actually faced a series of lawsuits that tell a very, very different tale.
If you look at this timeline, you can see there have been a few cases over the years. But the one that really jumps out is this recent class action lawsuit. It was all about illegal marketing texts. Now, this wasn't some minor issue. It actually ended with Goldco agreeing to a $2 million settlement. That's a pretty significant number.
So this brings us to a really critical point that a lot of industry analysts make. The problem might not be that the positive reviews are fake. The problem is that they're written at completely the wrong time. Think about it. Most companies ask you for a review right after you've signed up, when the customer service is great and everything feels easy. But the real test of an investment, that comes years later.
And this right here shows you the huge disconnect. The early reviews, they all praise the same things. Smooth setup, super helpful reps, and easy rollover process. But the complaints, the ones that show up years down the road, they're about something else entirely. High fees, this massive drop in account value right after purchase, and a ton of confusion over the company's buyback prices.
So, how is that even possible? How can your account value just plummet when the price of gold and silver is actually going up? Well, the answer, according to critics, comes down to this key concept that most investors completely miss, something called the premium spread.
Okay, to put it simply, the premium spread is just the markup on a coin. You're not just paying for the value of the metal inside. That's the spot price. You're paying a much higher retail price for a premium coin. And critics claim that this retail price can be anywhere from 60 to a whopping 160% higher than what the metal is actually worth.
Let's look at exactly how this spread trap can work in the real world. In this example, let's say the spot price of silver is 23 bucks an ounce, but you pay 60 bucks for your premium coin. Now, let's imagine the market goes on an incredible run. The spot price doubles to $46. You're thinking, wow, I've made a killing. But then you go to sell and the buyback offer is only $44. So get this, even with the market doubling, a 100% increase, your investment actually lost 27%. That's the trap.
And this same idea applies to all those free silver deals you see advertised. Sure, getting a 5 or 10% bonus sounds great, but critics will tell you there's no such thing as a free lunch. Instead, the cost of that free silver is often just baked into even higher premiums on the other coins you buy. So it silently drives up your initial cost, making it that much harder to ever turn a profit.
All right, another really big point of confusion for investors is the whole buyback program. It's pitched as this major safety net for you, but what does it actually guarantee?
I mean, the promise itself sounds fantastic. It's straightforward. Goldco guarantees it'll buy back your metals at the highest price. If you're an investor, you hear that and you think, great, when I'm ready to sell, I'm going to get the best possible price.
But here is the catch. Here's the detail that's so easy to miss. The highest price they're talking about is the current wholesale bid price, not that high retail price you paid in the beginning. That huge premium you paid up front, that 60% or more, is often just gone. It's non-recoverable from the second you make the purchase. Okay, so you've got these two totally different stories about the same company. So what are you supposed to do with all this information? How do you even begin to navigate it? Well, it really just boils down to asking the right questions, and not just of Goldco, but of any precious metals company. You need to ask them directly. What is the exact spread over the spot price for every single coin you're selling me as a percentage?
And is your buyback price based on the retail value I paid, or is it based on the wholesale price? And how exactly is that free silver bonus being paid for? And finally, can I please see a complete breakdown of every single fee, both the ones I can see and the ones that might be embedded in the price?
You see, the real issue here isn't trying to slap a label on Goldco like scam or legit. They've handled over $3 billion in precious metals, and they have thousands of satisfied customers. The real question is about alignment. Is a business model that's built on selling high-premium collectible coins really aligned with your personal goal of slow, steady, long-term wealth preservation?
And that really leaves us with this one final, pretty provocative question to think about. When does an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau hide the potential for a 27% loss, even when the market is booming? The answer, it seems, is when you start to understand the difference between a 5-star setup and the long-term math of an investment.